Hi, Robin. Our your intel on the Philippine markets and the economy. In the headlines, headline inflation may have eased year on year in October, says the Bangko Sentral, likely settling between 1.4 and 2.2% in October. And a live shot there of the transport situation in Metro Manila as the three-day Undas weekend begins in earnest. Motorists on long drives get to use one RFID for all tollways in the entire Luzon. Now on its 10th day since launch, we check in with Robin Ignacio, AVP of Traffic Operations at NLEX. And President Marcos arrives in South Korea for the APEC summit, aiming to expand opportunities for Filipinos. The Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas expects inflation to breach 2% this October. It projects inflation to range between 1.4 and 2.2%, driven mainly by higher prices of rice, fish, vegetables, electricity, and the weaker peso. Still, those pressures may be partly outweighed by lower oil, meat, and fruit prices. If inflation hits the upper end of the BSP's forecast range, it would be the highest in 8 months, or since the 2.9% print in January. At the lower end, inflation could be at a 3-month low, or since July's 0.9%. And if it stays below 2%, it would mark the 8th straight month that inflation remains within the government's 2 to 4% target band. The PSA is set to release the October inflation data on November 5th. The BSP is expected to deliver one final rate cut this year on the back of low inflation and slower growth. A commentary by Fitch Solutions Unit BMI states that the Bangko Sentral will ease rates by 25 basis points to maintain a pro-growth policy stance. BMI says the BSP has already demonstrated its dovish stance in its October meeting, given the weakening outlook for domestic economic growth. The easing cycle will likely continue next year as inflation picks up to an average of 3.5% and the economy further slows to 5.2%. Meanwhile, BMI expects the peso to move sideways, weakening to 59 to the dollar by the end of the year. The BSP may intervene at this point to mitigate heavy downside volatility. One News and News 5 will bring you the situation in key locations throughout the day as we start the Undas long weekend. Our mobile journalists are strategically placed in areas where Filipinos are expected to flock to. We'll get an update from Merimon Reyes, who is in Manila North Cemetery. Ray Vicente will be reporting from Manila South Cemetery. We'll get an update on the situation on the roads and bus terminals. JF Rivera monitoring from the North Luzon Expressway. Evan Tarinque joining us from the Parañaque Integrated Terminal Exchange. At a bus terminal in Quezon City, we have Arles de los Santos. And in Dangwa Flower Market, we have Jazz Paredes. First, we head over to the Parañaque Integrated Terminal Exchange, or PTEX, where passengers have started flocking since Thursday, October 30th, ahead of the long Undas weekend. Our mobile journalist, Evan Tarinque, joins us live from the terminal. Good morning, Evan. So what's the situation there now?
Cathy, as of this morning, the situation here at the Parañaque Integrated Terminal Exchange, or PITX, remains relatively smooth despite the expected surge of passengers heading to their provinces today. As we make rounds inside the terminal, passengers could still move freely, and the crowd hasn't reached that shoulder-to-shoulder level yet. In preparation for the expected influx, additional assistance desks have been set up inside the terminal. First aid stations from the MMDA and BFP are also on standby for any medical needs. Police visibility remains high with officers patrolling both inside and outside the terminal to maintain order and security. Despite the expected crowd, ticket booths remain uncluttered, and so far, passengers who booked their trips this morning said they had no trouble getting bus tickets home. Terminal authorities are also reminded travelers not to bring prohibited items such as sharp objects, firearms, and flammable materials. And as of yesterday, around 120 of these items have been confiscated. Kathy, with work and classes now suspended for the Undas break, authorities expect the number of passengers here at PITX to peak later today. Kathy?
All right, looks to be a long day for you, but it's looking smooth sailing for now. Thank you so much, Evan Tarinque. Stay safe out there. And larger crowds are expected today at the Manila North Cemetery as the Undas break begins. Let's go live to mobile journalist Merimon Reyes. So, Merimon, any updates on how many visitors have arrived so far?
Kathy, good morning. For DUS 2025, authorities are expecting an influx of over 2 million visitors for this weekend. However, for today, as of 5 a.m. up until 9 o'clock a.m., visitors have already reached the mark of 1,000 when it comes to counting. But right now, I'm standing at an intersection of Street 24 and 2nd Street, wherein police are stationed right over here. Red Cross are stationed and are roving around. And right here beside me is the resting place of veteran actors Fernando Poe Jr. and Susan Roses. So far, when it comes to security threats, police officials are not yet seeing any of this. However, they remain strict on their protocols of roving around the Manila North Cemetery, especially since it's over 54 hectares large and wide. But when it comes to the visiting hours, it's already extended from 5 a.m. to 9 o'clock p.m. Last year, in comparison, the visiting hours was only from 5 a.m. to 7 o'clock in the evening. However, this time, around 8 o'clock in the evening, officials and those who are securing or roving around the Manila North Cemetery will be asking the visitors, especially non-resident ones, to slowly but surely walk and exit the Manila North Cemetery. And these limitations or restrictions when it comes to visiting hours remain effective until November 2. Kathy.
Any cars or vehicles? What's the traffic situation around the cemetery, Merimon?
So far, when we arrived here around 6 a.m. in the 6 in the morning, the flow of the traffic is smooth. However, there are road closures around the area of the Manila North Cemetery, and that would include the road closures will actually begin October 30 and will last until November 3, 7 o'clock in the evening. So that would include Blumentritt from Bonifacio until up to the Aurora Boulevard, the Masalang, from Retiro until the Calavite Street, from Maceda, from Makiling to Dimasalang, and the southbound lane of the Dimasalang Bridge is also closed until November 3, as well as the Aurora Boulevard from Felix Huertas Road to Tandang Sora, where stages also the Chinese Cemetery South Gate. However, there are also alternative routes for our fellow motorists who are expected to visit the cemetery, which includes those coming from Dimasalang who are or who would like to go to Blumentritt may turn right to Makiling Street. Same goes then from those coming from Dimaceda who would like to go to Dimasalang or Retiro may also reach the place via Makiling Street. And those coming from the Quezon City who would like to go to the Bonifacio Avenue may also reach it via the Labo Street. Cathy.
Yeah, always walking is the best alternative for heart health. That is it for Merimon Reyes. Thank you so much for reporting live for us from Manila's North Cemetery. Now, tomb visitors are now flocking to Dangwa to buy flowers for their deceased loved ones. Let's get an update on the price of flowers there with our mobile journalist, Jazz Paredes. So, Jazz, are flowers more expensive now on the eve of All Saints? And what are the most in demand right now?
Yes, Kathy, you're right. Prices surge here now at Dangwa, and based from the sellers that we asked earlier, the prices have surged from up to 50%. Imported Malaysian moms right now cost 600 per bundle, 12 pieces, and compared to its regular price, it costs only around 300 pesos. For the Radus, which is 350 pesos right now, but during its regular price, it ranges from 50 to 80 pesos. Meanwhile, local Malaysian moms cost 250 half bundle, but during its regular price, it costs only around 180 per bundle. And also we have carnations, which are 250 per bundle, 10 pieces. But on during the regular price, it costs only 200 pesos per bundle. And we have the baby's breath, which it costs right now 100 per bundle, and it costs 50 per bundle before during the regular prices. And of course, we have arranged flowers, which costs the minimum that we've asked so far is 200 and the maximum is 2,000 pesos. However, this prices for the arranged flowers can cost up to 5,000 pesos depending on the type of flowers. And right now, the most in demand flowers, Cathy, right now is the Malaysian moms, the carnations. However, when it comes to the kinds, these are the most in demand. But when we've asked earlier the visitors what are the most in demand or the flowers that they're looking for, actually they're actually looking for a particular color in particular. They're looking for yellow and white flowers. So when we were asking around earlier, these are the most in demand or the stocks are very low since this is the most in demand color of flowers during the Undas season.
Talk about floral inflation, and it almost feels like Valentine's, but it's not. Thank you so much for that update. Mobile journalist Jazz Perez joining us from Dangwa. The long Undas holiday weekend puts to the test the One RFID All Tollways initiative. For the first time, motorists on long drives in the Luzon region will need just one RFID to traverse through Luzon's expressways. The government and tollway operators SMC Infrastructure and Metro Pacific Tollways launched last October 21 One RFID All Tollways, a toll collection interoperability initiative to ensure smooth, seamless travel across Luzon's expressway networks. One RFID will enable seamless access to these road sections without having to switch between SMC Infrastructure's Auto Sweep and MPTC's Easy Trip. As early as Thursday, October 30, Filipinos started gearing up for their annual trek back to their home provinces to pay their respects to their dearly departed this Undas, a local term referring to both All Souls Day and All Saints Day. To give the travelers an extra day for their trip, Malacanang has declared today, Friday, October 31, a special non-working day, making for a 3-day weekend. Well, with us now for more is Robin Ignacio, AVP for Network Traffic Operations at NLEX. Good having you on, Robin. Welcome to the program.
Yes, good morning, Ma'am Cathy, and good morning to our listeners.
All right, so no rest for the weary this holiday weekend, Robin.
Yes, actually, starting Wednesday, we already monitored more motorists going to the north. But yesterday was the peak. Starting noontime, we monitored that there's already an increase in traffic volume and continuously up to evening. And what's challenging for us, Ms. Cathy, is that both directions has high volume yesterday. That's why we have a hard time of implementing counterflow. But we were able to manage to implement counterflow starting 4:30 p.m. up to 9 p.m. for the northbound direction, meaning to say we took one lane from southbound to be used by the northbound traffic. And today, as early as about 3 a.m., we monitored again that there was an increase in traffic volume. That's why we implemented counterflow right away, starting 4:45 a.m. from Balintawak up to Marilao. And also there's another counterflow from San Fernando up to Dau. It's good this today because the volume at the southbound direction is fast moving.
Right, as we're now focusing on counterflows, what are the security and safety measures around that, given that there could be accidents because of that?
We've been implementing counterflow, and so far it has been done quite safely. And we did not monitor or encounter any road crash or accidents related to the implementation of the counterflow.
How about the One RFID? Interesting that the All Tollways initiative is going to be tested for the very first time. It just got launched about 10 days ago. What impact is that having on the seamless passages through all of Luzon's expressways, at least for NLEX?
Actually, for the traffic, there's not much. There's no high impact because the original two RFID stickers to accounts still in use. while some and more of our motorists are already registering the one RFID, they're being used just like the other old stickers. And the benefit will be for the motorists because it will be easier for them to monitor because one RFID, they can utilize it to any expressway in Luzon, and they will be only monitoring one load wallet. So all they need to do is they just ensure that they know how much is the toll fee that they're going to pay through the expressway they're going to pass through so that they can monitor closely their balances. And of course, they have to ensure that their load balance is enough so that they won't be having a problem when they pass through our toll plaza.
Indeed, which is the reason why there is an app. Well, thank you so much and do take care. Robin Ignacio, AVP for Network Traffic Operations at NLEX. And you're watching Money Talks. President Marcos is set to meet with world leaders at the APEC Summit in South Korea. And a check on the roads and bus terminals after the break. Keep it here on One News. Welcome back to Money Talks. I'm Cathy Yang. One News and News 5 will bring you the situation in key locations throughout the day as we start the Undas long weekend. Our mobile journalists are deployed in areas where Filipinos are expected to flock to. Earlier, Merimon Reyes joined us from the Manila North Cemetery, while Ray Vicente will be reporting from the Manila South Cemetery. So let's get an update on the situation on the roads and bus terminals. JF Rivera monitoring from the North Luzon Expressway. Evan Tarinque reported from the Parañaque Integrated Terminal Exchange. At a bus terminal in Quezon City, we have Arles de los Santos. And Jazz Reyes joined us from the Dangwa Flower Market. Well, passengers are rushing to bus terminals as they head out of Manila. Let's check in on the situation at a bus terminal in Quezon City. We have mobile journalist Arles de los Santos. So what's the latest there, Arles?
Cathy, so far dito, no, kumpara sa inaasahan nating dagsa ng mga tao ngayong araw dahil nga sa paparating na undas, ay mas mabilis ang paglamas-pasok ng mga tao dito kung saan unaasahan dito sa bus terminal na ito sa Cubao na mula October 29 hanggang 31 ay aabot so higit kumulang 10,000 ng mga pasahero ang darating dito para lumuwas sa kanilang mga probinsya at patungo rin dito sa Maynila. Dito sa kung nasan tayo ngayon, ang mga ruta ng mga bus dito ay papunta sa norte, kagaya na lamang no, ng Olongapo, Zambales, Baguio at Pangasinan. Napansin natin dito na mas mabilis ang pagproseso ng sistema ng kanilang pagpapasakay sa mga pasahero dahil meron sila ng mga online booking options at third-party partners, kaya naman mas mabilis na makapag-imprenta ng ticket at makasakay ng mga bus itong mga pasahero dito. No? Pero doon naman sa mga kapatid natin na hindi tech-savvy ay meron silang walk-in options. Pero unfortunately, Cathy, dahil nga sa inaasahang bugso ng mga tao ngayon ay fully booked na ang mga ticket at walang kasiguraduhan na makasasakay sila sa mga bus papunta sa kanilang mga probinsya. Meron din tayo dito no, na mga first responders na nakaabang para matugunan ang anumang emergency ng ating mga kababayan.
So mas mainam talaga wag mag-walk-in, mag-book online.
Yes, Cathy, no, isa daw ito sa mga option na nakita nga ng bus terminal na ito nang sa gayon ay hindi na kailanganin na pumila ng napakahaba ng ating mga kababayan at nang sa gayon, syempre, no, ay yung pag-expect ng traffic dahil ngayon maluwag naman ang mga kalsada ng EDSA pero hindi natin masasabi kung hanggang mamayang hapon at pagdating ng gabi ay kaparehas pa rin ang sitwasyon dito.
Okay, maraming salamat sa update. Arles de los Santos, live from Cubao, Quezon City. Let's check in on our mobile journalist Ray Vicente as he joins us from Manila South Cemetery. So what's the situation there, Ray?
Pati unti-unti na nga pupunta dito sa Manila South Cemetery ang ating mga kapatid na nais bumisita sa kanilang mga yumao sa buhay. At as of 9 a.m. nga, ay nasa 2,700 na ang bilang ng tao rito isang araw bago ang araw ng patay. At inaasahan daw na papalupa ito sa 17,000 sa mga susunod na oras ngayong araw. Pero Cathy, sabihin natin na mas dadagsa daw ang mga tao kinabukasan talaga, katulad na lang ng isang taon na umabot sa 500,000 ang mga dumalo na ating mga kapatid, at para naman ngayong taon ay nasa 600,000 to 1 million ang inaasahan nila, na mas marami raw dahil nga sumakto na long weekend ngayon. At sinisuguro naman daw ng kapulisya na mahigpit ang seguridad sa mga pinagbabawal tulad ng sigarilyo, mga flammable objects at mga bagay na pangsugal. Kati banggitin na rin natin no, yung mga kapatid natin na mahirapan na hanapin yung puntod ng mga yumao nila sa buhay, ay meron na tayong tinatawag na puntod finder. So kakaano lang dito ngayong taon kung saan makikita dito pwedeng hanapin yung pangalan at seksyon kung saan nakalibing yung yumao nila sa buhay. Meron itong website at QR code kung saan pwede agad hanapin. Pero kung sakali na hindi naman take yung mga ating kapatid, pwede naman magpa-assist dito sa assistant desk. At Cathy, nakabukas na rin ang Manila South Cemetery simula alas 5 na umaga hanggang alas 9 ng gabi. Cathy.
Okay, salamat sa update. Ray Vicente, live from Manila South Cemetery. Now let's go to our mobile journalist JF Rivera, live from the North Luzon Expressway's Balintawak Toll Plaza. So what's the situation there, JF?
Cathy, as of 9 or let's say 9:40 a.m., napakaluwag pa rin ng daloy ng trapiko dito sa NLEX Balintawak Toll Plaza. At on a daily basis, 450,000 ang halos dumadaan dito kada araw sa NLEX Balintawak Toll Plaza, at inasahan niya nila dadagdag pa yan ng 25,000 ngayon. Ngayon, nagsimula ang peak nila kahapon hanggang inaasahan nga nila na magpipik pa rin yan hanggang ngayong October 31. So ngayon ay pinapairal nila ang arangkada assistance program kung saan nga may free towing doon sa mga class 1 sasakyan na kung sakaling magkaroon ng aberya o problema doon sa sasakyan nila, ay maaari nilang tawagan ng mga numero 135,000 para sa sakronohan o para solusyonan ng mga magiging problema ng kanilang sasakyan. Ang magiging procedure niyan ay hihilain ng kanilang mga sasakyan papunta doon sa pinaka-nearest exit para nga ayusin at solusyonan kung ano man ang naging problema ng kanilang sasakyan. Ganon din, Cathy, ay may mga pila din doon sa Customer Service Center kung saan nga may mga nagpapakapit ng mga RFID na pahabol para mas smooth ang maging biyahe nila papunta sa kanilang mga destinasyon. Lalo na ngayon, isang RFID na lang ang maaaring gamitin, no? Papunta sa kanilang mga destinasyon. So sa lagay naman ng trafiko, no, dito Cathy, kapit ko kayo. So bahagyang nagkakaroon lamang ng pila doon mismo sa mga cash lane. So pero so for dun sa mga naka-RFID naman ay halos tuloy-tuloy ang daloy ng trafiko.
Tama nga sinabi ni
yan muna
Mr.
ang update
Ignacio
ko
na mas mainam nga naka-RFID kasi kung nasa cash lane, baka magkaroon pa ng traffic. But thank you so much for that update. 135,000, the hotline for whoever needs it at NLEX. That's our mobile journalist, JF Rivera, live from NLEX. And in other news, before departing for South Korea to attend the APEC summit, President Marcos has ordered other agencies tasked to deliver vital services to lower project costs, not just at DPWH. He says cost cutting will limit cases of corruption so that there will be more funds for livelihood creation.
The Department of Public Works is now aligning its project costs with real market prices and reducing these by 50%. So let me be clear. The quality of what we build will not be compromised. The only thing weakened will be corruption. This is the accountability that our citizens deserve.
The president arrived around 4 p.m. in Busan, South Korea for the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation or APEC Leaders Summit. He is expected to showcase how the country's commitment to foster economic partnerships and promote a favorable business climate amid a host of challenges. He will hold a bilateral meeting with South Korean President Lee Jae-myung to sign agreements related to AI and cultural creative industry. Before today's activities, the president met with the Filipino community in Busan, where he gave updates about the government's programs. Hours before President Marcos's arrival, the leaders of the world's superpowers, Donald Trump and Xi Jinping, held their much-anticipated meeting where they agreed to a one-year trade truce. This means that, for now, the U.S. will roll back its punishing tariffs and China will pause tightening measures on rare earths. Meta's plans to boost AI spending through a $30 billion debt sale weighed on U.S. markets on Thursday. The Nasdaq tumbled by over 1.5%, S&P 500 slid by nearly 1%. The Dow fell by nearly 1/4%. Treasury yields ticked up in the wake of the Fed's rate cuts, settling at 4.094%. Gold prices also inched up to $4,001 per ounce. U.S. futures point to gains when the markets open later tonight Manila time. The Nasdaq up by over 1.1%. S&P 500 climbs by 0.6%, and the Dow rises by 0.1%. Asian markets rise this Friday following the meeting between Trump and Xi. Japan's Nikkei 225 is up 1.3%. Australia's ASX 200 climbs by 0.5%, and South Korea's Kospi rises by 0.33%. Philippine markets are closed this Friday on the eve of All Saints' Day, which the palace declared as a special non-working holiday. PSEI gained the trading week in the red, slipping by over 0.5%, as traders remain cautious over the release of the GDP and inflation data next week, according to Regina Capital. The broader all-shares index tumbled by 0.33%, local counters all in the red except for mining and oil. As for the Philippine peso, it closed yesterday weaker at 58.85 to the dollar amid the Fed's hawkish tilt. And the 10-year government bond yields ticked down to 5.938%. Still below the 6,000 level, the PSEI is now down 9.18% year-to-date and 18.55% year-on-year. As for the peso, it has depreciated by 1.15% year-to-date and 0.88% year-on-year, while the 10-year government bond yields have declined 0.0026 percentage points year-to-date, but ticked up by 0.0003 percentage points year-on-year. And before we go, let's end the week on a high note. The Michelin Guide has officially launched its first ever list for the Philippines, highlighting over 100 restaurants from Manila, nearby provinces, and Cebu. Tourism officials said the launch is expected to boost food tourism and showcase Filipino cuisine on the international stage, while also inspiring aspiring chefs and restaurants to reach world-class status. 8 restaurants earned 1 Michelin star for high-quality cooking, while Helm in Taguig City received 2 stars for excellence. Gallery by Chele also earned by the Green Star for commitment to sustainable gastronomy. Michelin said the recognition highlights the growing sophistication and creativity of the local dining scene. For his part, Chef Josh Beltwood, owner of Helm, called the award unbelievable, describing it as a childhood dream come true.
I still can't get my head around it. I was on the brink of having a mild heart attack when the 1 stars had ended, and I didn't know what was happening, and I thought maybe Helm had missed out. And then to be called up for the 2nd star, absolutely mind-boggling, and to the point where I have no words.
Excellent. Congratulations to everybody who won. That is it for Money Talks. I'm Cathy Yang. Catch us again Monday, 9:30 a.m. Stay tuned to One News, 1PH, and News 5 for the latest situation in the bus terminals, cemeteries, and on the road. Kapatid, we are One News. All sides, all the time. Have a meaningful, long Undas weekend.